Live button.
Go for it.
And I am live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fast Charging, episode 49. Yes, 49 of them. And next week, we're going to have a special anniversary 50th episode where we're going to do the exact same stuff. And I am here with,
Brian from My Tesla Weekend. Hello, everybody.
and I am Bear from Bear's Workshop. Not anything else that Brian might be saying.
He is
about
not.
me.
It turns out I was mistaken. It's not Bear's Wank Shop. I apologize to everyone. That was a mistake.
And I understand how that can happen. But, we could do some wanking in here also if we had to. It's just probably going to have to turn the cameras off or at least go to my OnlyFans page.
Gross. So what are we doing
People
this
like
week?
it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What are we doing this week? We got anything good to talk about? Probably not, huh?
Just all sorts of EV stuff coming out. There's new stuff. There's sales numbers and production numbers and just a whole lot of everything as usual.
So did
And
you? Yeah. I was going to
go
say,
ahead.
did you know that EVs add to electricity demand, but not as much as you might think?
That is what I'm reading. And that's also from Bloomberg, reputable sources. So someone has done a projection out to all the way to 2040 if we continue on our path to electrification of our automobiles. And it just shows a small percentage of the actual needs for EV electricity demand. And, you know, we don't know who put out this survey or who the people are behind it, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of the anti-EV people will say. I think it's all about timing when you're going to use it, and I think there's going to be a lot of scaling in the electric grid from now until then.
And until then, is some states want to be pure EV by 2035, but that's pure EV sales for new vehicles. It's going to take 20 years for the old vehicles to fall off the road, so to speak.
They have to die off one way or another, either failure or accidents or museum pieces. Well, there won't be many of those. But, it is going to take 20 plus years. And I've had cars that were older than 20 years, and they could last a long, long time. So I don't see this as a end all. And one other thing, and maybe we'll save this for the fourth article.
Okay. So what's the second article?
The second one is about still some of the problems that we're going to have converting all these people over, as EV charging is still a huge problem for renters, and there still needs to be a solution for it. They talk about how in some places, well, they didn't. I don't know if they actually talked about this in this article, but I know that if you have an EV and you're in California, you can ask you have a legit legal recourse to ask your landlord saying, I want an EV charging station, but you have to pay for it. And that does become a bit of a liability for a renter who now has to buck up anywhere from $500 to $2,500. But you can get your own parking space at at your residence, but you have to just put in a formal written request, and they have to agree to it and then get it installed, but you have to pay for it. So,
Especially for condos, that's not as bad of a thing because then the value at least attaches to the unit. But for apartments, it can still be a tougher sell. I think what we're going to see is more demand driven, where landlords will choose to put them in to make their apartments more appealing or valuable.
I agree with that. And I guess something that would help with that is if they start changing some of the laws on construction and saying that you need to have this. You need to have X amount of charging stations per apartment. So, and I don't know what that number should be, and I don't even know what would be right, but there also needs to be something where a minimum size charger, because I don't ever see this mentioned, even with all the government grant money that's been thrown out there. They say level 2, but level 2 goes all the way down to 7 kilowatts, and that's an overnight charger. And I don't want to see them start putting those in on streets or at places where people are pulling over. I need a charge because I run into that a lot with Toro renters looking for places to charge, and they end up at these level 2 chargers that are 7 kilowatts. It's like, all right, we'll leave it there for 24 hours and come back.
Right. And that's great for residential, like you said. But if you're going to put it at a mall, a 1 to 2 hour charge is about ideal. And anything slower than that is not going to be effective.
Yeah. And you know, interesting, you say mall. We have a mall here in Arizona that's like really central in Phoenix. It's not in Phoenix, but it's like central in our valley. And there is a Tesla supercharging station there. They have about 20, 24 charging stations. It's pretty decent size, and it's a larger one. It's a 250 kilowatt, so it's definitely level 3. And then on the other side of the mall, like in the back corner where you'd like hide your dirty laundry, they have an EA charging station, and those run from 150 to 350. And there's probably only about, I think, 8 right there. And most of the time, I was there last week and I swore at that thing. I cursed at it, and I did not. I got 7 kilowatts in 30 minutes on a 350 kilowatt because it just would not do what it was supposed to do. It kept declining my payment even though I'm on a free plan. Again, frustrating as hell. And I'll tell you something else about those EA chargers. Those cables, those cords that you plug in, you need to throw it over your shoulder and like carry it over. They are so heavy.
So you and I talked a while back about EA and how the inside of the cabinet is such a mess. Did I tell you that I got to interview Robert Barossa, the senior VP of the company, basically, the marketing and development guy? Did you see that video?
No, I didn't. What kind of excuses did he have?
So here's the thing. You got to be delicate with an interview like that. You can't just come out and ask the big question, how come your stuff's broken all the time? So I researched it in advance and came up with some theories and asked the following questions. Where are they designed? And the answer was everywhere. Each supplier designs their own part of it. And where are they built? And the answer was everywhere, with different parts from different suppliers, even for the same components. So it's a hodgepodge of a hodgepodge, and that is why they don't work. And when they go out to fix them, they find that the one piece they need might not be one of the 20 pieces they have in the truck.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is like the...
Yeah, there's no unified design, there's no unified manufacturing, and there's no way in hell you're going to be able to have a unified servicing strategy.
You can't have a guy go out there and every single one of them be different.
You can, you just can't fix them.
Right. That is, and that also explains why the software is not going to work with the hardware.
Yes. So I got the answer. There you are.
Did you put it to him? Did you tell him, like, so how's that supposed to work?
No. I let the viewers draw their own conclusions, and I had comments saying I was way too soft on him, and one guy even saying, "What's up with the gotcha questions, man?" I'm like, those were not gotcha questions. Where is it designed? Where is it built? That's not a gotcha.
Yeah, even if you flat out said to him, "Well, isn't that why you're going to have like serious problems running these things?" That's not even a gotcha question. A gotcha question is when you don't have a right answer, or there is, it's a trap.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And JJ did give me some good questions to try and get him to admit that they are working with Nikola, and we got real close, but he wouldn't take the bait. So it was worth a shot, JJ. We did our best. Oh, but the good news is you can charge, at home with this program we're talking about, and that's great because if there's one place people like charging, it's at home. I mean, people like charging in public, though, right?
Oh, not so much. Apparently, women don't feel safe charging their electric cars at night. And I've got a couple things to say about this real quick. One, if you don't feel safe charging at night, don't identify as a woman, and then you are good to go. So you're no longer a woman. It's not a problem. But I think this is just another hit piece because you could take out the word electric charging and replace it with gas station for every single thing. And if you get an electric or a gas station that's deserted, I don't sometimes feel safe going into them. Depends on the neighborhood, depends on who's there. It's sometimes a little spooky when you go to a gas station at 3 o'clock in the morning and you get a car that drives up and you're just like, okay, why is he out? I know why I'm out, but I shouldn't be. You know?
Right, because
So
I'm looking for trouble.
yeah. Yeah. Trying to buy a mountain of cocaine for Mr. Milton so that he can keep that positive energy going.
What else we got? Do you know that New York is planning to follow California's lead and ban the sale of new gasoline vehicles by 2035?
Yeah. All the power to them. Being in New York last month, I'll tell you what, I was surprised at how many yellow cabs are now hybrids. A lot of RAV4s, because when I lived there, it was all Caprice Classics V8s, just pumping out that gas. So most of the cars there are already hybrids of some sort, as far as the yellow cabs, and that's where the most of those cars come from. But is the plug-in hybrid still allowed?
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's a pure EV move designed to exactly mirror the one in California.
Is California no plug-in hybrids allowed?
I believe it is, and but it only counts for light-duty vehicles. So commercial vehicles, heavy-duty vehicles can still be gasoline for now.
I thought they were going to still allow plug-ins because that's the loophole. You know that.
It is a loophole wide enough to drive a RAV4 through, that's for sure.
Right, because if you allow the plug-in hybrids, you're going to have manufacturers putting on essentially useless plug-in hybrid stuff. Yeah, we put a 1 kilowatt battery in there. You could drive 3 miles, but now you're a plug-in. Raise our cost by $500, but hey, you guys are good to go.
All they do is make it so that the starter remains engaged.
Yeah. I mean there is not enough specifics into it if you say no internal combustion engines except for hybrids or plug-ins, they're going to go, sure, no problem. We can make a hybrid. It's going to be the worst plug-in ever, but it's still going to qualify.
Well, Toyota does make some good hybrids.
Yeah, they do. There's just actually not enough for people to buy right now. Yeah, and Toyota still doesn't think that banning the internal combustion engine is a good idea.
Yeah, apparently they're doubling down on their EV strategy amid criticism that it's not moving fast enough. If I was a shareholder, that would absolutely be my criticism. With the head start they got with the Prius, I expected them to be a leader in green, mobility by now.
Yeah, they should have been rocking it by now.
Yeah. 1997 was the Prius launch. Come on, guys. What are you doing?
They were just milking that as long as they could.
Yeah, and I just don't understand why. Apparently there's some kind of cultural loyalty through the supply chain that makes it difficult for them to transition away from suppliers they've been using for 60 years. But, guys...
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
And really, I blame the fact that the CEO is the grandson of the founder rather than the most qualified person for the job.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of that. Somehow the most qualified person in the world happens to be a relative. Yeah, because when you're talking about a CEO of a major company like Toyota, there has got to be someone that could have been better. Unless they literally just sent him to Toyota College and that's all he ate and slept and, maybe, but still it doesn't make him the smartest person in the room.
It does not. It does not. Let's talk. Speaking of no transition, do you know that the F-150 Lightning was able to be used by at least one person, I assume quite a few more, in Florida to keep their houses running during the hurricane?
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we need more of, and I think we will see more of.
Yeah. And it's a good thing he had the proper equipment installed in order to do that because you
Yeah.
do need additional equipment, which I
Yeah.
believe costs around $1,500. But this guy invested in it and it worked out for him. And I think if I lived in a place like Florida with possibility of storms taking down your electricity often, I think that would be a really good investment.
Well, 1,500 may sound like a lot, but what would it cost to purchase a generator comparable in utility to a battery of this size?
About six to $10,000
Yeah.
for for a house backup generator. They're unusually expensive, but you would also have to make sure that would also run continuously.
Yeah.
So there is advantages to that.
Yeah. So,
But
yeah, 1,500, 3,000 even. Not a
Mhm.
bad investment. Buyers know if this is right for their use case. I would never hook it up. Power doesn't go out here often and it doesn't go out for long. So it'd be fine. But
yes,
I appreciate that people who need it have the option. I think we're going to see more cars doing this.
I think that they should. It's really a power wall, you know.
Yeah. Did you know that Citroën has a concept car out that's an inexpensive family car that can also power your house?
Yes. And what size battery was in this?
In the Citroën,
Yeah.
I didn't look. It doesn't exactly matter on account of being a concept.
Oh. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's not real yet, and I guarantee you it will never come to market looking like this. In part because I can't tell which end is the front.
I know. I was just looking at that, trying to figure that out. It's like I think they got headlights on the rear. Um, but
That yeah.
since we're talking about concepts and power walls, my solar battery is supposed to arrive today.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the one that we've been talking about since like episode one. I have an LG battery. I don't know when it's being shipped freight, so I may have to get up and go grab the tractor because it's 200 pounds and I'm required to take it off the truck with my tractor.
If that should happen during the show, I think I can carry. I think, as usual, I can carry the show on my own.
Oh wow,
So
wow.
this concept says a 40 kilowatt hour battery, which is
Okay.
compared to the size of even a good home battery backup, substantial.
Yeah, yeah. Like I just said, mine is 9.6 kilowatts,
Yeah.
and I think most of the Tesla Powerwalls are in the 11 to 13 range, something like that.
Yeah.
So that is a decent size.
Yeah, for a car, it's not super exciting, but this is, I assume, meant for the European market where range is not as critical.
Yeah. Apparently, they live in little mazes, little tight mazes in Europe.
Yeah, small villages.
Yeah. Where but here in the States, if you want to get a gallon of milk, you have to drive 50 miles.
Yeah, and if a 40 kilowatt hour battery pack is what it takes to make it affordable, so be it. They can always make it bigger later. Anybody else got anything affordable?
Yeah. So if they made it affordable with a 40 kilowatt battery, does that mean it's like in a $10,000 electric car now?
Oh, Tata Motors has launched a $10,000 electric car.
And it's got a 6 kilowatt battery.
Ah,
No, it's not six, but it's 19.2 to 24 kilowatt. So
that's pretty compact, all right.
yeah, and the charging option on the 19.2 is purely 3.3 kilowatts. So that is pretty low. That's going to be pretty low speed charging, and the 24 kilowatt battery can go up to 7.2, which is good for overnight. Well, with that size battery, it wouldn't be overnight. You could actually do that fairly quickly.
Yeah, that's what you could you could. Yeah, I mean my microwave is 1,500 kilowatts or 1,500 watts, but
Watts.
watts
I was
still.
gonna say that's a hell of a microwave.
Still, you could
got.
you could charge it on a 110 in a matter of hours. Very economical. But this
Yes,
is only
but
for the Indian market.
yeah, and there's also there's different safety standards, and that is going to make quite a difference in the price of the vehicle, and that's why they're able to bring it down.
Just to
Just like on a
clarify real quick, I was going to ask, you said there's safety standards on the Tata Electric?
I may have misspoke.
Because I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
I would be...
Just to put into context, I had one of my vehicles get into an accident a couple weeks ago. We got the estimate down. It was a side hit in the left rear. Didn't, some body work needs to be done, but the airbags went off, and there was, I'm gonna say, 30. It was a $14,000 bill, and I'm gonna say about 4 to 5 thousand of that was replacing the airbags and what the airbags destroyed. So, because like the headliner gets blown out when the airbags come down, so they have to replace the airbags. The headliner's been designed for the airbags. So, right there, that accident costs more than 50% more than this car right here because of the safety equipment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But who needs safety when you can drive a Charger EV?
right? Tell me about this.
Yeah, I still like the car. As long as they get rid of those speakers, because that's like I think you said putting the cards in the bike spokes. It's just kind of silly, and the fact that it's going to be at 100 decibels, you're not going to get that shaking and that vibration that you get from like a real ice car that has a racing type or a fast motor and a powerful motor.
Yeah. A hot rod.
Yeah. So anyway, there's a video attached to this because there's not much information in the article. I watched the video instead of reading any of the other articles, and it's about a 14-minute video talking about some guys who had Chargers and Challengers and over the years and how they don't know if they'll make the switch, but if they don't make anything else, then they will. But it wasn't. It was a nice piece. I think it was more of a promo. I think Dodge may have paid for it for CNBC to do it, but it was still. It seemed pretty honest. So I liked it, and like the CEO of Dodge was saying, well, if we can't make anything, we have to make something. So let's do this. Let's just make this the best muscle car that we can, just an electric version, since we're not going to be able to make the gas powered ones just because of emissions and the gas guzzling tax and things like that. So it's a good watch. You should watch it.
I'll consider it.
I'll think about considering it.
Yeah. Anybody else making sports cars?
Yeah. My Maserati does 180. Is it 185?
I think it is. But by the way, it doesn't. That model of Maserati from that year does not. I think it tops at like 160 or something.
I once went into a Maserati dealership and I grabbed their pamphlet and because I really didn't know what they had, and it was like I was there, and all the cars, their top speed was actually 185.
Well, maybe
a couple of years ago.
That's
No. I wonder if they just like capped it there because of the song.
Yeah.
Too much of a coincidence.
Yeah, the GranTurismo Folgore, an all-electric GT, revealed for next year.
It's kind of cool looking, but it's still a Maserati.
It's still a Maserati. I hope it comes out. I hope it. You know what it looks like to me is a two-door version of a Fisker Karma.
Yeah, and speaking of Fisker, I thought I saw something, and we don't have an article on it, but they're supposed to start production November 17th.
Wow, that would be very exciting. I got to
Yeah.
see the Ocean at fully charged, and it's beautiful. It's got some neat features that you won't find with other vehicles. Specifically that every single window in the car rolls down. Every one of them.
Does the car roll on its own?
I don't know if that was a pusher or an actual working prototype. I didn't ask.
Was Trevor there pushing it around?
No, he was nowhere to be seen.
Oh, well, because he's somewhere else right now.
Yes, he is. Any other new cars coming out?
Of course, the BMW XM. I mean, is that a satellite thing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know that name's taken.
Mm-hmm.
Hybrid super SUV with 644 horsepower and a crazy design.
Did you say crazy or hideous?
Well, I think the grill looks a little bit better than our next article, which we have 18 jokes lined up for.
We do. Again, why are you doing hybrids, man? What's the point? All right, whatever, I guess, but we're going to have to move past the hybrids. It is a stepping stone.
Yeah, I don't know if we didn't mention this, but the Toyota CEO talked about the $70 billion that they have being invested into new technology. Half of that's going towards electric only, straight up, and the other half is different types of energy use. And plug-in hybrids and hybrids are just all over that.
Yeah.
Still throwing good money after bad money, developing things which should be put on the wayside.
Yeah. Yeah. Not ideal. Not ideal. So you said there's
Yeah,
other
well-
other BMW news and jokes?
And jokes. But before I go, I got to say, you can have this for a mere $159,995. That does not include XM satellite, Sirius, or whatever it is. Not included.
I did take the survey at the bottom. Is this a good move? And I clicked no. It's ugly and too large. 61% of the vote.
Oh, I don't have a survey.
Oh, well, we must have...
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I do have one. Yes, it's crazy in the right way. There's nothing crazy about that. That is just plain out. It's now at 61-39. What did you have?
61. Yeah.
Oh, okay. My vote didn't change anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you know that BMW expects to sell 240,000 EVs this year and 400,000 next year?
That is very impressive.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's a lot of people who like big butts that are going to buy this car.
What are you saying, Bear?
Well, that grill looks like someone bending over.
Yeah. 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 It's not... it's polarizing, is what I think Sandy Monroe said. He said that some of the people in his facility love it, and most, including himself, do not care for the sticker.
Is that a sticker?
Yes, sir. It has to be, because that's how you get the aero efficiency. But you know what else is aero efficient? Get rid of it. MD Hopsy says, OMG, that grill says I am overcompensating.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard when you back up, it plays "I Like Big Butts," and I cannot lie. I heard that.
That would make sense.
It's further down in the article.
Oh, I didn't get that far. That's why I didn't get there. Oh, it must have been cut off or something. I don't see it, but I believe you.
Your ad blocker blocked
That's
it.
what it is. That's what it is. So I'm excited. I hope BMW genuinely pushes forward in EVs, and I hope that 400,000 figure does not include plugins like the XM, because again, it's a half measure.
Yeah.
Andrew says, reminds me of beaver teeth.
Yes. Well, some of them, they have different colors. You make it look even more like beaver teeth, and you can't unsee it once you look at it like that.
That
You
is-
just can't.
Yeah. Yeah. We are doing really good on time. Should we talk about any other companies doing big production?
Maybe we should make beaver teeth jokes for another 5 minutes so we can use up the time.
I do have to say the black corners, the triangle kind of thing on the front there, does do a good job of making the front not look like a flat wall.
Yeah.
Doesn't
I'm just
save
saying-
it.
When you look at it, if you just keep trying to picture different things, now I'm looking at that mouth on the bottom, that air dam, which looks like a mouth, and those eyes. It looks like some sort of character from some bad video game coming after you, something like that. I just keep seeing different things in there. I've got the beaver teeth, I got the butt, I've got a face with some sort of horrible nose on it. There's a strange hourglass shape part of that face. You see it if you see the hourglass.
It looks
Because of
like
the black.
it looks like a man with his arms up.
Oh, you're throwing something else in there now.
The little black thing in the middle. Anyway.
Oh yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
YM. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I've got the BMW ball right here. I got the ball. I got it. I got it. I got it.
Anybody else have any record production we should be excited about?
Well, it's easy for Rivian to have record production because all they got to do is beat a previous low month because they're new. It's not a knock on them. They're new. They should have record production months every month for a very long time.
But the good news on this article is that they are on track to hit their 25,000 target for this year, meeting their guidance.
Nice, nice. So what's their total right now?
About 15,000, 14 something, I think. 14,317 is what they're at now, which is great. For a vehicle that expensive to have that many early adopters, that's fantastic. And the reviews I've seen are just great.
Yeah, and I saw several more this week. So, and I saw my first Lucid Air
Oh.
on the road. First Lucid Air.
It wasn't on the side of the road or the back roads, the dirt roads?
No. Well, I don't count the ones that we see at the factory. That's not fair.
No, I meant off-road.
Oh, you meant off-roading. Yeah. I was at some place talking to somebody about a Lucid, and this guy was a stranger to me. He didn't know who I was until we got on the Lucid conversation. He goes, "Oh, yeah, I saw that." He had seen the video, Stranger in Phoenix, and then he goes, "Oh yeah, I recognize you." I'm like, oh shit.
Uh-oh.
It's not good.
Who is this pointed out that the guidance of 25,000 is their revised guidance down from 50,000.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Still, I am applauding steps in the right direction.
Yeah, because that's still better than another company who revised their guidance. I've got to mention what William said. He said beaver mouth wagon.
Oh.
BMW.
Boy, that's got such poetry to it. You could take it in a number of ways, and none of them are good.
I got it. It's like two hands milking a cow. Okay.
I'm not sure if this is in reference to it, but Digital Blade Canada said about something. He ordered it from Wish. Okay. Well, and JJ is saying that he likes the Amazon Rivian trucks, the little cargo vans. Yeah.
They're not little. They're big.
Yeah.
They are a lot bigger in real life. They're much bigger than any of the Ford Transits or the Roadmasters. They are very tall. Yeah, there might be a ladder in there.
Yeah. Well, they are purpose built for Amazon, and they know what kind of volume they need inside. Yeah.
Speaking about volume.
Yeah. Do you know that
Chevy Bolt?
Go ahead.
They're reaching volume production. They're breaking records. And they are producing these cars and selling them a lot quicker than we ever would have thought 6 months ago when they weren't allowed to make them.
Weren't allowed to, or just knew that there was too substantial of a fire risk?
I think Fire Marshal Bill said, hold.
Yeah. Well, it's alive and well, it doesn't say well, but it delivers a record quarter. So much demand that GM announces plans to increase production, which is hardly shocking because the car is a steal at its current price point. Yeah.
It is, but one of the things is once you go up to like the larger one, the price still is going to end up in the $40,000 range. I've been on a Chevy lot as recently as today, and they have a lot of bolts there, but they every time I go back, they're different ones. They are selling these cars. They tried to get me to buy one, but I can't get past the 50 kilowatt charging on that.
Oh,
Uh, Meaning if you get your free subscription from Electrify America, and if you got something that actually worked, you'd still be sitting there 2 hours to charge that car on an Electrify America. They get about 250 miles of range. It's not bad. Car's still ugly, though the at the top of the screen, the one on the right I think is much better looking than the one on the left. But the one on the right they're only producing. When I was at the dealership, I only saw the EUVs. They had 6 or 7 of them one time when I was actually looking. They had none of the regular EVs. They were all the EUVs. And there you go. That's when the price starts going up and you're back into the $40,000 range. But they are putting them out there.
and I would argue in the 40,000 range, they are going to keep selling them. I just hope it's profitable because I'm not convinced it is.
They could be. They could be.
That's true. Well, and it doesn't have to be. If they're literally breaking even or losing a few thousand, they're going to make it up on not having to buy ZEV credits.
Yeah. And it's also good practice for them because their other numbers were not so good. 36 Lyrics were delivered, 411 Hummers in Q3. And what's weird about the Hummers is I've personally seen 8 of those. Because I saw 2 on the road, and then I saw 6 on a car hauler. So I guess Arizona's getting a large portion of them because that, for me to just be able to see that many of them, I thought that the numbers were going to be higher than 411 because I just seeing them on the road. So
Yeah.
that's a little disappointing. But they plan on ramping up production for Q4. And I don't know if they're talking about the Lyrics or the Hummers, but they're talking about production being ramped. And then they have the Blazer and the Equinox are both due next year.
And I hope they do come out as expected. I imagine they will. The legacy guys, at least in the last couple of years, have been pretty good about making deadlines.
Yeah. And I'm still waiting for my Hummer. I got one on order. I have no idea how I'm going to pay for it.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to sell one of my kids on Wish.
oh, I don't know if you want to do that. Quick question. How many kidneys do you have?
Left?
Yes, on the left.
Yeah, I got one on the left.
Good. So that's, I think it'll work.
I didn't know I could get that. Really? How much can I get for a kidney?
Oh, I have no idea. Not that much. Not that much.
Oh.
Certainly not at your age.
Oh.
Hey, they want young, healthy kidneys. What am I supposed to say?
I got the kidneys of a 12-year-old.
In a jar behind you on the
Yes.
shelf. Anybody
That's
else
behind
doing good numbers?
That's a good question. And I like that question. 'Cause the answer is no.
Ford EV sales triple in September, led by F-150 record sales.
Yeah, so of course they did good with their F-150. The only reason they won is if they didn't have chips to put in them to sell them, which has happened to them before. But their EV sales, I thought was a bit disappointing.
Okay, talk to me about the numbers.
4,691.
Oof. Ugh. That's not good at all. That's not good. For the whole quarter.
For the whole quarter. And I'm not even sure how I understand how that happened. Their hybrid sales was 74,000 just in September. So that's actually pretty good. But you got to remember they've got the Lightning out there. They've got the Mach-E, and they have the Transit van. Those are their full EVs.
Right.
And it's telling me that it's not a demand problem. I know it's still not a demand problem because I ordered the Mach-E in February or March. Today might be my Mach-E's birthday because it's slated for production this week, October the 3rd. So I had to wait 6 months for this car to enter production. So there's not a demand issue. It's some sort of production issue. And by the way, disclaimer, I don't know if I'm getting the Mach-E.
Oh, really?
The, the banks are getting really ornery with it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we bought 4 more yesterday. So we'll see what happens with that, but I'll try and I'm gonna still try and get it because I'd like to get that. But anyway, I mean, you think those numbers are 4,600?
If that's accurate, that's tragic. Truly
And I
tragic.
don't and I don't even get it because the Lightning sales have reached 8,700 since they launched in June. So how do these numbers make sense?
I don't know. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Oh, you know what? This might be just for September.
I think it is just for September. There you go.
Oh, it still sucks.
Still sucks.
4,600 in the month of September, not quarter. Yeah. That- Between the 3 different electric vehicles that they make.
Yeah.
Anybody else you know have like 3 or more electric vehicles, and how many cars that they put out last month,
Oh,
last quarter?
last quarter, the 400 or 363,000 for Tesla, do you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Aren't they still a startup?
Yeah, they'll never make it. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Tesla Q.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean,
What's funny
do
is
you want to talk?
the stock is
Yeah.
down because Tesla missed analyst expectations. No, my friend. The analysts got it wrong. All of us who actually follow it, the Tesla YouTubers and Twitter people, we all got the numbers really, really close. James Stevenson on Twitter at I cannot underscore enough missed by 0.09% on production. So 343,000 was the number is deliveries, but production was higher than that. So the Wall Street missing, that's a you problem. And oh, I'm sorry, they've only grown 50% year over year. Sell. Whatever, it's fine.
You know, why don't we reduce the stock of these analysts?
I try. Yeah, and Andrew Jameson points out that I was almost on the money. Yeah, I missed by 1.29%, which is the outside range of where I like to be. And that's with me being an outlier among all the analysts because I had the lowest number, which I'm always uncomfortable when I'm an outlier. But I don't crib my notes from other channels, so my numbers are what my numbers are. So I'm pretty proud of that.
I think you copied my information.
Yours, probably.
Yeah.
Do you know
I
that?
was thinking.
Oh, I was gonna say, do you know that Porsche had an IPO this week?
Oh, is that what you're saying? You're ready to move on? We have 17 minutes to burn.
Okay, well, let's go back then and talk about the production, I guess. Because what were you going to say?
I think it's horse poo that they're even looking at the delivery numbers because the delivery and production numbers are different for Tesla than they are for a legacy automaker because they've got these vehicles sold. There's 20,000 vehicles that weren't delivered, but these vehicles are sold. They've got buyers on the other side. The only ones that aren't going to sell are ones where people back out because they're like me and they couldn't get financing. Otherwise, all these vehicles are sold. Where it's just a matter of getting them on a truck and getting them delivered. Does that mean that Tesla's got a logistics problem? No, doesn't mean that. It just means that they've got to get them out. They will get them out. They're all sold, and it's not stopping production anywhere else. There's no demand issue with these legacy automakers. If there was a discrepancy in between production and deliveries, you start talking about, oh my God, we're carrying this inventory. We've got to get rid of this. Companies that manufacture things don't want to have a lot of things in inventory. They want to get it out. Tesla's going to get these out right away. Ford, GM, the legacy guys, they've got to get these sold over to the dealerships, and they've got to get them there. Otherwise, they're still carrying these costs. So, and sometimes these vehicles sit on the lots for 6 months. Every one of these Teslas are going to every one of those 20,000 are going to be in a customer's hands within 2 weeks, sold and driving and putting miles on.
Well, the other thing is that most legacy automakers have around 30 days of inventory at any given time. Tesla's at 5 days of inventory, and
Yeah.
still, oh, they can't deliver them. My friend, be real.
Yeah, it's kind of a joke, and I knew that mainstream media was going to go just like that,
Yeah.
and have a little panic attack. And in reality, all it does is create a buying opportunity for someone who wants to buy Tesla.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Very silly.
Yeah, yeah,
But talking about, so the IPO of Porsche put them at a valuation of like $90 billion or something.
yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy, because how many cars does Porsche make a year?
Well, let's see. The first 9 months of the year, they're only down 4.9% at 49,000 units for 9 months. Okay. That's not great.
Yeah, so it's not really going to take Lucid that long to actually catch up, then, is it?
Not, no, no. And 90 billion for a company. I think it's just everyone's trying to.
Well, I think that's in the U.S. only.
Oh, that does seem low. Anyone in the chat want to dig it out for us? That'd be great.
I thought their annual production worldwide is somewhere around the 200,000 to 300,000 mark.
Even still, that's very
Oh yeah,
soft.
it is. It's a specialty car, and they're not just, and they're not cheap cars. They obviously are. It's for a certain market, and they're not making $20,000 cars. So you're not going to see, you know, them all over the place. Like everywhere I go, I see a white Tesla. I see a Ford Fusion. You just see these cars everywhere. They're mass-produced cars. These are definitely more specialty cars, and this is one of the things that makes me worry about Lucid, because Lucid also makes a specialty car that costs a lot of money. And if you look at this, a luxury sports car, and if they've been around forever. They were Hitler's baby for a while. Um, they've only been able to. I don't know what their record year is for production. Maybe 400,000 vehicles,
Yeah.
ever. So what does that leave for a company like Lucid? What's their top end? That's why Lucid needs to eventually get down and start making their, a mid-size sedan, small sedan, or they talked about the $25,000 car. That's never going to happen because of the inflation going on. But still, something that's more affordable, something that can be mass produced a lot quicker.
So we're
And
getting numbers
Porsche
in
doesn't do
the
that.
we're getting numbers in the chat of around 300,000 a year, and Digital Blade Canada says none of the public shares that were just sold are voting shares. Okay.
Sounds fair.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about Tesla is finally going to expand Giga Nevada. One more of square towards the ginormous footprint that will never be filled because it doesn't need to, because the efficiencies gained through improved battery manufacturing has allowed them to produce more than they ever intended on a substantially smaller footprint. But we'll see some growth here coming up.
Maybe on one side, or they can do another square and make the Tesla bot.
Yeah.
And they can make another square for like hair and makeup for the Tesla bot. So
Yep.
that buy out real dolls and grab some of that technology.
Oh dear, that's a good idea. There was a joke that was kind of made about that during the bot presentation where Elon's like, yes, I'm sure people will have all kinds of creative uses for these.
I just don't even want to think about that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see that on your OnlyFans. Okay, so that's, I guess, good news.
For somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh huh.
Y- Yeah, that's kind of awful.
Yeah. So
So,
I think this is going to be semi-production.
you think so?
I really do. I really do. I'm going to talk with my inside source and see if he can give me some inside scoop, but that is my current guess.
Is your inside source does he have like initials EM?
Nope. Oh, I get it. No. No, definitely not. Definitely not.
I heard you were hanging out with him.
You heard wrong.
Oh, wow. Man, I read on the internet, so I just thought it was right.
Yeah, that's strange because usually everything on the internet is correct. But in this
Uh-huh.
one
Uh-huh.
instance, I guess it was mistaken.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, here's something that's not a mistake. Couldn't possibly be a mistake. Fire. I'm going to go
What?
ahead and play this and turn off the volume.
I have done the same?
Did you did you know what car it was before I told you?
No, I did not.
I did get it. I was very proud of myself. I recognize that A pillar, that being a Lucid Air. I don't have any other information on this except for that car was sitting in a driveway. I don't even know if it was sitting in a driveway. It could have been running, and they could have said something's wrong and pulled over right there. I don't know. But that Lucid Air, uh, more than likely a GT or a Dream Edition. So it costs a couple pennies. Very expensive, but that car burnt to a crisp.
Yeah. Yeah, do you think they'll salvage this one or.
I don't know. If I see that at Copart, I'm going to pick it up. Just so I can say I own a Lucid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is not a thing that is salvageable.
No. Literally not one thing. And this is not, in my view, a slam on Lucid. There was early on, there was a Taycan fire. Cars burn sometimes. It happens. At worst, this is a learning opportunity. But I would guess that this is an anomaly.
And I agree. I only looked at it like for a longer amount of time just so I could read the comments because they're so stupid.
Oh, no.
First of all, everyone said it was a Tesla, but they were obviously corrected by others. Then there's other people who were making comments about this is why I'll never own an EV. Not realizing never would or will drive one. I will stick with my gas-powered car because gas is not flammable and doesn't burn.
No, splody juice is very safe and secure.
Yeah, and someone did respond with, "This is exactly what people said when cars first came out. No thanks, I'll stick to my horse and buggy."
Yeah.
And it's kind of accurate. If you can imagine people in the early 1900s going, "But you're putting gasoline? What is gasoline? It explodes?" Maybe they didn't have a comprehension of really the fact that gasoline explodes. Because what would gas have been used for back then?
Gas, distilled gas, probably not much of anything. Yeah, you wouldn't want to use it to light or heat your home. I've also seen the same thing with people talking about various driver assistance programs. I would never use this, it's too dangerous. And it's like, every car that has advanced driver assist, whether it's forward collision detection or braking, they're safer than the ones without. So please use them. Please use them. Use them responsibly, but pretending that the technology is less safe than the alternative is dishonest.
So Riley doesn't like it when I use autopilot. The last time I used it with him, we were just going down the freeway, and there was nobody around us. I mean, not close at all, and it just kind of car hit the brakes hard. Said, "I'm stopping. There's something up there," and it just did a phantom braking with autopilot. It took us we went from like 70 to 40 like really quick before I was able to take over. So it was.
And that's
eh,
the and that's what I appreciate about them is most cars don't even recognize ghosts in the wild,
Yeah,
let alone stop for them.
my autopilot sees dead people.
But to be fair, I've seen Riley's driving.
Dun dun
I'm
dun.
about to get kicked out of your chat.
Yeah.
I kid.
Yeah, but on the flip side of the phantom braking, and I'm glad there was nobody behind me. On the flip side of that, you're trusting your 16-year-old kid to drive. Oh, I just got my license this morning, and you're putting them behind the wheel of the car, and at that point, they can kind of do whatever you can do, and you don't. If you might trust your kid, and you may have trained your kid properly on driving and gave him a lot of training time. On the flip side, your neighbor didn't.
Yeah.
And I had a commander in the army. When we were done with our day, he would dismiss us and he would always say the same thing. Be careful out there. Remember the other guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
You would and that's a fact. You I I would rather have everyone else using autopilot and me not than nobody having autopilot and just trusting random strangers that you're flying down a freeway at 80 miles per hour, sometimes 120, just depends on
Yeah.
how bad of a person you are.
And the thing that I thought was strange is that when your commander would say that, he would never look at you. He would always look at the guy next to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So sometimes he said that other guy's an idiot.
Speaking of idiots, we do have one more story.
Ah, nice segue. Real quick though, I'm just still looking at that video and I want to zoom in on the piece of equipment that's in the driveway because I'm wondering, is this the
Jaws?
fire? I'm wondering if it's the jaws of life. Is it because it kind of looks like a saw? It does look like the jaws of life.
No, it looks
But I'm
like an
wondering if that
electric handsaw.
I I'm wondering if that had anything to do with what, like, could it have been something that started that fire? It is electric.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that probably belongs to the fire department. And they may have used it to cut the A pillars.
A pillars do look cut.
Yeah.
But that just made me think of the fact that one of these arguments that you use with people who hate electric vehicles and do you know anybody who has a gas powered drill?
No, I do not.
Yeah. So, but like most people are using like electric powered drills, cordless battery powered drills, and battery powered sawzalls, and you can get battery powered uh, saws. There's just all sorts of things that you can get now. Impact wrenches. I mean, you go into Home Depot and they have like tools you never thought you needed, but suddenly you do, and they're battery powered. 20-volt DeVault battery, Milwaukee, but none of them are gas powered. I wonder why that is.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't want the fumes inside my house, and it's just not necessary to get the power.
But it's better. It's gas.
Right. Right. That'd be fun.
Okay.
So,
Speaking of gas,
this is your story, man.
yeah,
This wasn't me.
yeah, I know. All right, so this is airing tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern time on CNBC. It's probably what I should say is a well-deserved hit piece on Trevor Milton. They've only put out 10 minutes of it, and I watched that. I won't be able to watch it tonight. Hopefully, I can see it later. Sam Alexander commented on Twitter that he thinks he's going to be on this, so it looks like they reached out to him for some negative comments. So they could have gotten them from anybody. But Sam's pretty, I'm going to say knowledgeable, though he actually tends to focus his hate towards Nikola and not so much Trevor Milton. And right now, I think this is a hit piece that's not gonna help Nikola at all, unless they have some sort of conclusion where they go with Where is Nikola now? Are they making this product? Or are they not? But if they do, it's going to be right at the end, and it's going to be about 20 seconds worth of the show.
I'm going to
So
say,
I
yeah, I'm going to say real quick, I don't think this is going to do anything to move the stock because anyone who's already invested knows all this stuff. This is not news. Anyone who is thinking about, I don't know who upcoming investors are. I don't see anyone getting into Nikola stock at this point unless they already know an awful lot about it. So I think this is public fluff entertainment that's not going to move the needle. That's my opinion. What do you think?
I agree with that. I do think there's possibilities that maybe they can put out information that is incorrect,
Oh, yeah.
saying saying people at Nikola knew about it. Nikola would not comment on this because those things just don't sound good. But they can't comment on it. It's right in the middle of his trial. There's nothing that they can say about this, and there's probably nothing that they should say about it.
Yeah.
Anything that they say should be in the court.
And I think you're right that right now they're probably not allowed to. They probably are. They're under gag
Right.
order. And in your chat, William just said, "What would inspire institutions to invest in Nikola, please?" And there is an answer: short-term speculation. The stock, without the company changing at all, the stock could easily pop 10-20% in either direction on any given day over no news,
Which it did today.
which it did today.
Yeah, so that's very possible, and they tend to keep their mouth shuts now. They don't make very many announcements. They haven't announced a new customer in quite a while, but they have also at the same time said that they had 14,000 reservations for the fuel cell truck, which they came out with a new iteration of that. We posted that a couple of videos ago, and it actually looks very nice, very well put together. It's sleek, and they are moving along with that. They've got the potential to actually sell a lot of vehicles, and they have orders in, and it's just a matter of, our next earnings call is going to be early November. No date announced, but I am 100% positive that they have produced their production goal for quarter three.
We
Because
saw on your videos so many finished trucks out there, so I'm definitely curious to see what the production actually was. And I've said this on your streams before. I care about production over deliveries. Deliveries are, like you said, they're already sold. They'll get there in a week or two, so we'll see.
yeah, and I'm basing my numbers on the fact that we can see the VIN numbers.
Oh,
They they put the piece of paper up in the window, and we held back on saying where they were until somebody at Nikola put out I think a short video or picture saying, "Hey, we made our 100th truck," which actually put them at 52 for the quarter, and their goal was 65 to 75. So based on that, and then seeing the trucks that came out after that in sequential order, we know that they made about 70 trucks.
great. So get to one a day, then get to two a day, then get to 5 and 10, and onward we go. Hey, did you know I like to take this part of the show to thank my Patreons who get early access, bonus content, and ad-free experience, and all kinds of other good stuff, as often as not. They're awesome, and I love them, and I appreciate them. How do you feel about yours?
Well, I love my patrons even more than you love yours because what I offer them is not much, and they are still there. So I can appreciate them more than you can because you have to work much harder to make yours happy. And maybe if I did, I'd have more patrons. But I do appreciate my patrons because none of them complain about my lack of updating the Patreon site. They are just supporting me to go fly, and I appreciate that. So they are awesome.
Neat, neat. So, Bear, you've got a live stream coming up when?
Probably going to do one tomorrow. I haven't verified that with the schedule because now everything I do, whether it's meeting time with the Tesla bot or going, putting my big BMW grill down on the toilet. It is all dictated by Toro. So
That's a
we
lot of
are,
fun.
yeah.
So yeah, and I'll of course have my live stream on Friday. I've got 2 or 3 videos already finished that are scheduled to run on Patreon. People have already seen them. Some interesting ones. And this weekend, I am probably going to be interviewing 2 of the other Tesla quarterly production guessers, if you will. Estimators. Both James Stevenson and Tim from Oracle Investments are likely to be on an additional live stream on Saturday. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, that is fantastic.
Yeah. So, yeah. Go ahead.
No, it sounds like fun. I mean, it sounds like a whole lot better than driving to the airport 6 times in a day. So,
Yeah, and I wanted to thank you for hanging out with me, Bear. Always enjoy it.
well, thank you very much. And I will be, since you're enjoying it so much, I say we do this again next week.
Yeah, why not? I will see you then. I thank everyone for hanging out, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
All right. See you later. Bye, everyone.